Hi, guys, and welcome back to Marant's Rants. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation, a whole lot of truth, no financial advice. This is a one-take session, no edits, no cuts. This is called Fancy Information. Now, I'm going to have you hear a story. This is from Patrick Brehm. If you don't know who he is, Patrick Brehm is the actual former CEO of Overstock. Now, a lot of people know who he is because some people call him a crazy man, a madman. Now, I know that he was outed over there because of his international relationship with a certain Russian spy, yes, but he also knows where all the bodies are buried, believe it or not. His father is one of the best friends of Warren Buffett, but he's going to tell you a story right now, and I want you guys to listen because we're going to play connect the dots with the information he gives. Let's go.
I could tell you the whole history of how the bad guys entered Wall Street. In a nutshell, Genovese's, the largest mafia, what is it called when you get stolen fence? The largest mafia fence in America was a guy in the 60s named Saul Steinhardt. And the prosecutor in New York who put him away said this is the largest mafia fence in America. He was sentenced to 10 years in Sing Sing. While he was in Sing Sing, he put his son to Wharton. His son's name is Michael Steinhardt. Michael got out and formed the first hedge fund, Steinhardt Fine Berkowitz.
So when he tells you he put his son into college, he's talking about the Wharton Business School. And you guys know about the Wharton Way. We've talked about that on previous Connect the Dots. And just keep listening. It gets better.
He admitted later, because Mitchell was about to publish, that actually all of his funding through the 70s came from his father's associates in sacks of cash and envelopes of cash. That's when the mob entered Wall Street. It was through Michael Steinhardt. Michael Steinhardt was bosom buddies, a guy named Mark Rich. Mark Rich was his financier. Mark Rich, you must all know. Mark Rich in the 1980s got caught trading oil with Libya and Iran, fled to Zug, Switzerland with Pinky Green. Recently died. Michael Steinhardt continued. He was indicted in 1992 for manipulating the market in U.S. Treasuries and had to sign a consent decree never to touch any federal security instrument. He's basically a Hannibal Lecter with a mask that you can't ever come near the federal government's securities. Michael Steinhardt is the one who obtained the pardon for Mark Rich, the trader who was living in Switzerland, who recently died. Michael Steinhardt had two proteges. And my cousin covered Michael Steinhardt for Goldman. My cousin was a 25-year Wall Street guy, worked at Goldman. And Steinhardt was famous for wanting what he called fancy information. Fancy information is, like, my first call my cousin ever got from Steinhardt was, Goldman had just come out with a downgrade on IBM, and Steinhardt called to chew him out and said, why didn't you let me know 10 minutes ahead of time you could have let me know 10 minutes ahead of time that your company, Goldman, was about to downgrade IBM. And my cousin says, what are you talking about, Mr. Steinhardt? I can't do that. That's illegal. And Steinhardt said, you dumb effing kid, you look at how much VIG I pay your firm a month, and you tell me, I pay you $5 million a month. You can't give me some fancy information. Well, he was notorious for this very hard-driven, fancy information-driven trading style. Steinhardt had two proteges. One's a woman named Karen Backfish. Karen Backfish was his head trader. Picked all this up, married a fellow named Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer, in his early work, was described how everything he downplays his connection to Steinhardt. In fact, he officed for 2 years in Steinhardt's office next door to Steinhardt, and in his early work attributes everything he learned to his wife. And I once wrote an essay where I just dug up all his early work, where he's absolutely acknowledging criminal activity, he's acknowledging doing all this, and how, anyways, that's Jim Cramer. The other protege of Michael Steinhardt was a guy named David Rocker. David Rocker was ran with a very tough crowd on Wall Street, spent 30 years insinuating to everybody on Wall Street that he was mobbed up because of these connections. Steinhardt and David Rocker in 2004 picked a fight with me. Don't know why, different theories, but this guy started going around and picked a public fight with me, and that's the thread that I started pulling on that led to Steinhardt and Genovese, Russia, et cetera, et cetera. That's how I got into the fight. So that's...
So you believe this story for one good reason, and I'll explain it to you guys in a minute. What he's telling you is that you had Jim Cramer, his wife, was the protege, and so was David Rocker. Now, we know Jim Cramer in the position he plays against the media, against us, the retail investors. But when you look, and if you hear the name David Rocker, don't just step over it. I've read it before, and I remember where I read it, so I had to go look back. David Rocker was the co-manager of a fund. Do you know who the other person was? It was Mark Chiodos. Guys, David Rocker and Jim Cramer are the same person. They help each other out day and night. They were molded and mentored by the same man who is essentially the mob, the mafia that's been invested with this economy, with this financial system. You want to know how they manipulate this system? They do it from within. You can connect all the dots you want, but Mark Chiodos implanted himself in the AMC community out of nowhere. He befriended people. He helped it project out and say it was going to be this type of investment. Allegedly, for a long time, I've known exactly who he is. And I've called him out. He blocked one account, he blocked the next account. But nothing's ever changed here. Mark Chiodos is exactly who we knew he was. He is partnered up with the guy like David Rocker, or he was, right? They're all cut from the same thread, guys. They've been doing this to America for a long time. And what have they been doing? Taking advantage of retail, the retail investor. All those guys are short sellers, guys. Patrick Brin, the problem that he had was he was fighting short sellers the whole time. If you don't know the story of Overstock, and as I go ahead and look up his chart here, I know he got pushed out of the company, but you know why he got pushed out? It's because he started dating a female by the name of Maria Butina. When I read it, I was like, okay, so she's a registered Russian spy. She's an insider. She runs for, the government positions there. And I get it. I get it all. I do. I'm going to tell you, Mark Chiodos is not a good guy. He can't be the guy that's in front of the camera and people are saying, well, this is the guy pointing us in one direction. And now he's fighting Adam Aaron, or he's in it for the good guy. He's not. He's a bad guy. He was partners with David Rocker. And Patrick Brin is trying to bring light to exactly who these guys are. So Jim Cramer, David Rocker, Mark Chiodos, all cut from the same cloth. Private equity, short sellers. I'll stay away. Enjoy connecting the dots for the rest of your life, guys. But it was cool to know exactly what this man was putting together. I believe him. I follow him. I listen. And I'm still digging. GameStop. Can't stop, won't stop. GameStop. I'll see you around, millionaires. Peace.